Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another Raising Kanan Season 4 Theory and Prediction video. The topic of today's theory is Marvin gets arrested for shooting Amber's foster father. Okay, now, there's a lot of evidence to back up this theory. There's a lot of evidence to back up this claim. I'm going to be breaking this down based off of a little bit of brief scenes that we seen in the episode 9 promo, as well as all the things that we know and can assume of Marvin based off of who Marvin is and how he been moving this season. And we know how that dude been moving this season, all right? This video is going to be another banger. Go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Without further ado, let's get to it, y'all. All right, now, y'all, let's break it down like this. Over the course of the entire season 4, and we're only talking about the 8 episodes that we've seen, okay? We have virtually seen Marvin do something stupid or participate in something stupid, or something stupid happens because of Marvin every single episode at least once. We already can assume that the writers had Rock foreshadow Marvin's death in the future, because I'm not going to say it's this season, right? But we can assume that Rock predicted Marvin's death by saying, "I got it," should be on your gravestone, right? Your tombstone. But we know that the character who plays Marvin has already been filming season 5. He was already on the set for that. So whatever happens with that, we know that if he dies, it won't be till at least season 5. But that leaves another 2 options for Marvin on how this season can end, okay? One option is he goes on the run from both the mafia and the police, possibly ends up in DC, right, to get on Trayvon's nerves. We know that's one option. But another option, and is even more likely, is Marvin goes to jail, okay? There's no way the writers had Marvin make so many mistakes this season, and then he's going to get away scot-free, okay? That's just not how the Power writers work. That's just not how they do things, okay? So when we see a little bit of episode 9's promo, and you got Marvin. Marvin is shooting people without a silencer, right? Meaning he didn't plan on busting his gun. We know that when he plans on busting his gun, right, he had a silencer on. Just like when he killed, what's his name, Londell? Early Tyler's cousin, the end of episode 8. We know that when he plans to bust his gun, he puts a silencer on it, right? I'm going to remind y'all about the Sal Buscemi kill, right? Silencer. Those are professional hits. However, when we see Marvin busting his gun without a silencer, right? Part of an earlier scene that's connected to that scene, right, which we got from the teasers earlier on in the season, something to do with a white man, right, with a white beater on. Now when we see the promo for episode 9, we got Marvin, once again, like I said, busting his gun without a silencer. And if you look at the scene, he is, without a doubt, right next to a twin bed. He's next to a twin bed in a kid's room, okay? We know Jukebox is an only child. She don't have a twin bed. We know that earlier in the season, Marvin went to go see Amber, and those of you who've been under a rock and missed the entire season 3 of Raising Kanan, Amber is Gerald's son, who Marvin calls his goddaughter, and he has been covertly looking after and making sure she's safe. We also know Marvin is big on protecting family, anyone who he considers to be his family. and he considers Amber to be his family. So if Marvin, right, who's going through all this stuff with the mafia, going through all this stuff with the police, knowing he had connections to Stefano, we're liable to see a scenario where Raquel tells Marvin, hey, look, nigga, you gotta go. You gotta run, okay? The mafia's on your ass. The police know your connections to Stefano Marchetti. You gotta go. And what do y'all think Marvin would do before he left? He definitely gonna see Jukebox, right? We can assume he would see Kanan and Lou as well, right? And after that, you know, before he skips and leaves town, he would want to see his beloved goddaughter Amber. And because this is power, right? And kids go through such horrible things within the power universe, right? We know that Amber's already been through so much. We got Marvin busting his gun without a silencer next to a twin bunk bed. We have to assume that on his way out of town, he stopped by to see Amber, right? Give her a burner phone. Matter of fact, this is before burner phones. This is like 93. Give her some money and saying, listen, I'm going to be gone for a while, okay? Probably saying, hey, listen, this is my daughter's contact information. Contact my daughter if anything, right? What reason would Marvin have to be busting his gun in this house and shooting this man, okay? Something very bad is going on in there. Some kind of abuse. Like, I don't want to just jump out the window and say, hey, there's some kind of physical abuse sexually, but we all are familiar with what happens quite often with foster children in foster homes. So either it's some kind of abuse in that direction, or the guy is starving the kid. Maybe there's more than one kid in there, but something bad is happening. We know that Amber alluded to something not being right when Marvin asked her how she was doing earlier on in the season. Something is going on in that house so bad, okay, that Marvin decided, okay, I'm gonna start shooting. Now, what I'm predicting is that in the middle of the melee, Marvin gets to shooting, something bad happens, Marvin shoots the guy. Marvin been catching bodies all season. I'm predicting that Marvin shoots this guy, but this guy survives. This guy survives, and because Marvin should have left before the police got on his ass, Marvin gets caught up in this shooting. This is what I'm predicting. And thus we spend season 5, either all of season 5 or a large part of season 5, because there is room for the writers to write a situation where Marvin gets out of jail, right? Somehow, all what would have to happen is the guy who Marvin shoots ends up dead, or he gets paid off and he don't return to court, right? What I know is that I came across information that parts of season 5, they were filming in front of a courthouse. And if they're in front of a courthouse, that means somebody went to jail. I'm assuming it's Marvin. Marvin goes to jail. Marvin gets out. They still dealing with the mafia situation. I predict that Marvin gets killed by the mafia by the end of the season. But before that, I'm predicting he gets arrested for shooting Amber's foster father, and he ends his season in prison, right? I mean, not in prison, but in jail. Because of the timeline that it's in, I'm going to say he goes to Rikers Island, okay? This is very much plausible. This is very likely what happens. Also, in the synopsis for episode 10, there's no mention of Marvin at all. Further confirming that Marvin is likely to end up getting arrested. And if not, then he successfully went on the run. But hey, who's in court? If they was filming in front of a courthouse for season 5. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's gotta get that. That's touch my ink. That's on the dome, nigga.